Hey, welcome back to the Agent Carter Vlogs. I'm Slider, and I'm joined by the perpetually late Mangaleva.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, we're on episode 5, which is something that I'm so happy about because I got so many things that I wanted. They also got something that I really didn't want, but
I might be able to take a guess on that, but for now, let's go over the general idea of what happened in this episode. It's called The Atomic Job. Is that a pun?
I'm not entirely sure, but it certainly sounds like a lot of fun and totally safe and not hazardous for anybody at all.
Definitely. Now, in this episode, the plot is that, normally when you write down plot synopsis, you're supposed to have the big point of what the episode is about right at the beginning. I don't do that. I'm just write down in order of events.
I mean, the overall thing is everybody wants bombs.
Yeah.
Basically.
Though that small event, in this case, at least leads to the general plot. So we find out in this episode that the Zero Matter is drawn to Dr. Wilkes as he is drawn to it. Except this time it's a little more literal. And a small bit of Zero Matter goes through the glass that they contained it in. It enters Wilkes and makes him corporeal for a second, if I'm using that word correctly.
Yep.
Now, for whatever reason, he somehow knows where Jane Scott's body is, which is in a building that happens to be owned by a friend of Calvin Chadwick.
Well, he's drawn to the zero matter in her, but guess who else is also drawn to that zero matter?
Ant-Man?
Don't think even Hank Pym's born yet at this point, never mind Scott.
Well, Peggy and Jarvis obviously sneak in to try to find the body, but they find Frost instead, who can apparently take the Zero Matter straight from the body, and at that point decides that she needs to build an atomic bomb in order to make more of it.
But I'm saying, the phrase, "I need an atomic bomb" with a big grin on your face is always going to be creepy, but if you say it after feeling up a corpse to get all this black goo to fly in through your eyeballs, it's like setting whole new standards of creepy.
Creepy standards have, in fact, been raised.
So yeah, she wants another bomb.
Now, in order to prevent that disaster, Peggy has to sneak into Roxxon, which is apparently a place.
Again.
In a disguise to see and seduce Hugh Jones. She uses a device that erases the last 2 minutes of someone's memory once he recognizes her, which is the funniest scene ever put in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It keeps taking his time to recognize her because he's staring at her legs instead of her face, and then 3 minutes later it's like, "Agent!" and she just stabs his knee again.
Yeah, at first he's absurd, but then he recognizes her again shortly after, which is great.
And then it gets to the point where she's just knocked him out on the floor and she's searching his clothes for this key that she needs, and he just keeps waking up with her on top of him and saying all these pervy things, and she immediately keeps knocking him out again.
It's actually, that's one of the most brilliant comedic setups I've seen in a long time. That was magnificent.
I mean, she is repeatedly brain damaging the guy, but she's visibly caring less about it every time he wakes up and says something pervy.
Yes.
And then, while he's still unconscious at the end, she does it just once more for good measure.
Now, eventually she finds a key in order to infiltrate another I would like to point out that they infiltrated a building to infiltrate a building to infiltrate a building. Now, they do bring in Rose to help infiltrate. Now, as soon as Sousa doubts it, you already know that they immediately show Rose beating up a guy after that, because timing.
Specifically a one-man band. They're continuing the joke of, weird out-of-work actors still managing to find the agency. In this case, it's a one-man band. Who,
yes.
Rose flings into the window without seeing Peggy and Sousa when they're arguing about whether or not she can handle it. I do like Peggy's line, "I'm sorry, I'm looking at Daniel Sousa, but I'm hearing Jack Thompson." When he's claiming he doesn't think Rose can handle it, even though, as Peggy points out, she's gone through the same field training as everybody upstairs. She's the first guard on the door. This is something I've been wanting for ages as Field Agent Rose, and I'm so happy I got it.
And they did it, yay. Though I will say, it is a bit much. It's a little too on the nose. The scene is basically, blah, 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 women, women, women. And then woman's like, ha, no, you're wrong. It's a little too on the nose.
Well, you gotta do that, otherwise men never believe it.
So what you're saying is that the best way to end sexism is to beat up one-man bands.
Not quite what I was going for, but one-man bands are annoying.
That is true. No one likes Heath Slater. Someone will get that reference. No, they won't. They also bring along the scientist comic relief.
Yeah, after Rose floats him into get. I do love the fact that Rose is the one he has this huge, adorable crush on.
Maybe the other best scene was right after that when they do the whole walking in a straight line with the super serious music.
Oh my
marching
God.
down.
And he falls over, and it's just he's really enjoying his secret agent. They're all enjoying their secret agent moment, the slow-mo secret agent shot, and it's just like got Jarvis wiping his nose and the Doctor falling over, and it's got a lot of great comedic timing this episode.
Yes, it does. I have to admit, my immediate thought went to the bloopers from Monsters, Inc.
Bless Pixar for making those.
They do eventually infiltrate the real place they're supposed to go to, but they find that someone is beating them to it, and it is, of course, Whitney Frost and her husband, and some guards, assassins, hitmen. I don't know what they are this episode.
I think they're the dude she got from that mafia dude with the anger management issues.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit too, I'm sure. But anyway, Rose first goes on her own, and then Jarvis gets trapped and has to take the bomb out while the scientist tries to unlock it. And meanwhile, Peggy ends up confronting Frost and Chadwick. But Frost is basically become a full-on mega powerful supervillain at this point. And she just gets knocked out and falls onto basically a spike. Which, God, suck.
Yeah, it's that hella painful looking scene from Full Metal Alchemist. Oh, you haven't seen that yet. But yeah, it's basically she gets impaled horrifically. And
I was thinking of the Tomb Raider reboot, but that one was even more graphic.
It's pretty nasty and uncomfortable looking either way.
Yeah. They take her to Sousa's fiance's place to get her healed up, which at least actually makes some sense because she's a nurse.
Yeah, and they have to keep Peggy out of hospital so that, all of Whitney's sinister, Cal's organization of sinister dudes doesn't find her. And, yeah, it's, again, something I wanted was just Violet getting a bit more of an active role in this case, looking after Peggy when she's been stabbed.
Though, because for completely insane reasons, she ends up immediately getting herself out of there and just walking to Howard's place to rest instead.
Yeah, which is not recommended by her general petitioner or anybody else's.
No. And the, I suppose, cliffhanger of the episode at the end is that Wilkes disappears in front of her eyes all of a sudden. And then the ending turns into heavy rain as she has to repeatedly scream Jason.
I mean, the only thing we had in here that would have made it, absolutely perfect is a Dottie Peggy fight as well as a Dottie Whitney fight, but I'm pretty happy I got a Dottie Whitney fight. Not Dottie Whitney, Peggy
Fight.
Whitney, sorry.
Fight, quotation marks.
Yeah.
It's like saying that Peggy fought a wall. A steel wall.
I didn't say it went well.
I think the wall won.
It did not go well for her, but there was Secret Agent Rose, slightly more active Violet, which did lead to all that, bullshit with, they are making some jealousy bullshit in it as well.
I'll get to that. I have that written down here, though I have slightly different things to say. Slightly. Now, for the more comedic or, minor points, or at least points that weren't the main focus of the episode, I like to imagine at the intro where Dr. Wilkes is, there with Peggy sleeping. I like to imagine that what we don't see is Dr. Wilkes staring at Peggy sleeping for the previous 2 hours beforehand.
It's incorporeal. We're not entirely clear on if he can sleep. It's just like, well, got a love interest bedroom to hang around. Yeah, there's a bit of mildly stalkerish behavior in this episode between him and Sousa breaking into Violet's house. Just a little stalkerish.
My notes are just so out of context and I love it. So, I just want to go through them in order because they're great. Next note, Jarvis didn't need to inform us about Stark's Woody.
That is true.
I mean, Toy Story wouldn't be made for another 50 years, seriously. That's obviously what Kingdom
That is how far ahead of his time Howard Stark was.
That is absolutely what I was thinking when someone brought up Woody.
That is totally what that meant and could not possibly have meant.
There's a snake in my boots.
Snake Yes.
Penis. My next note was, no, actually, that's relevant to something else, so I'll save that for a minute. I did love the scene where Jarvis going into great detail of how any plan to break in will kill us all. But do this, they'll kill us all.
It gets to the point of sing along if you know the words, kids. If we dig in there, it'll kill us. It'll set the thing, kill us all.
Which, to be fair, at that time, that they would do a song like that. Duck and cover or they'll kill us all. I only vaguely remembered that Hugh Jones was a character. My notes say, oh yeah, Hugh Jones was someone.
Kinda, maybe, possibly.
I want to say he was one of the characters that was hypnotized in the first season, but I'm not sure. That sounds correct.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I know Roxxon's been present. It's, that fictional company that keeps showing up in the Marvel universe. That's, an oil company and therefore always as corrupt as humanly possible. Well, they did already break into a Roxxon place in season 1.
I did really like the scene with the mob. I do love. I love basically most of the cool 40s retro noir-ish tropes. So I love having the mob boss just beat the crap out of his own man in public.
Yeah, that's the anger management issues, man.
Just a ruthless motherfucker. And I just love that it's in public. They're just other people right there.
And it is one of those power play things. It's like, yeah, I can beat a man to death in public and I won't get arrested for it. Whereas Whitney's just got this smile like, I know that feel. Bro.
I like the part where Sousa drops the radioactive thing. And then, I forget who, but someone says, you just destroyed all of Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, he's practicing with the, sausage or whatever it is for removing the bombs, and Wilkes is just like, you just destroyed all of Los Angeles. And he drops it. And then he talks Jarvis through it, saying it's just like taking a souffle out of the oven. Probably.
Yeah, that was great. Oh, I almost forgot the other best line ever.
Yeah.
This is so stupid with the scientists. They start bringing up pie, and then it just becomes as unsubtle as me. That pie was in you, your pie was in me. I like pie. Pie is good.
You're just like, smooth, bro. Smooth.
I like the fact that he does kind of play smooth. He seems just so naive and honest. It's hilarious.
It is good. And then he gets so into, Roses and me, like, yeah, me and my husband. And he's like, husband? Yes, husband. We're married. He's so into it.
Yes. Actually, I think the main reason I like the pie line is that I think halfway through he forgot that he was accidentally making innuendos. I think he legitimately forgot, and it just started to think about how much he liked pie.
He just got distracted. He was like, Roses pie. Pie. Pie.
My next note says that Jarvis is scared of screws. After that last quote, I'd like to put this statement here with no context. And I did. And I'm happy.
Needed.
No. Jarvis is in fact scared of screws.
And
Cannon! Get on that tumbler. Don't get on that tumbler. Don't get on anything. Now let's get into the problem of the episode, which is my main last note here.
Yep.
I know what you're gonna say, so I'm gonna give my slightly different take on this right here, which I've written down. Is that, at least in the context of how it's being done, and why it's being done, when it's being done, whatever, I don't like Sousa actually being in love with Peggy, if that's the story they're going with. Just put it simply, it is not compelling romance. Stop trying to be compelling romance if you can't do compelling romance. Stop doing these stories. They aren't interesting or worth my time. And the only compelling pairing for me, for my taste, has been with Angie anyway. And it's probably partially because they weren't intending that.
And I think that's part of what... Yeah, I agree that's part of what make it work. I also feel like there needs to be some acknowledgement from the characters that a lot of what was the bond between Peggy and Sousa when they were working together at the department was quite simply that they took each other seriously and no one else did. Like, that was a bit... from the first episode, that's the first bit we see them bonding over, is being annoyed at Jack Thompson not taking either of them seriously. And I don't think that's necessarily a basis for a good romance. I think it'd be a basis for a great friendship, but they already shot that horse in the foot with... What am I trying... I'm mixing my metaphors horribly there. But, they already shot that down with him not returning phone calls, basically. And I think there's something a lot sweeter going on with Violet, who frankly deserves better than this nonsense.
Well, I hate to be the downer, but basically after the scene where he proposed, I immediately wrote this down because I'm almost 100% certain this is gonna happen. She's gonna die.
I know, I don't want Violet to die. I'm so scared that she's gonna die.
She's gonna die.
They had better not fucking dare kill Violet just to resolve this bullshit or to make a Peggy Sousa happen. Like, nope. No. Bad Marvel. No. Don't do that. Bad.
Like, it's so stupidly obvious. The only way it could have been more obvious if she said she was retiring from being a nurse.
Got one day till retirement. Then I'm gonna go get happily married.
No, what she should have said is, everything's gonna go our way now.
Nothing can possibly go wrong now.
Oh, God.
I am legitimately scared they're gonna kill her, and I don't want her to die. Like, I really hope they keep whatever nonsense has to go on between Peggy and Sousa and Violet and Sousa. Because Sousa, one who has apparently not told his fiancée that he had a massive crush on... either has not acknowledged himself, or has been trying to hide the fact that he, moved to the opposite side of the country to deal with the fact that he fancied the woman who used to fancy Captain America.
Actually, I think the worst part of the entire thing is it just feels really rushed. Like, think about it for a second. Like, about, 5-10 minutes into the episode, he proposes to her. And then at the end of the same episode, she entirely thinks that he's in love with someone else.
They rushed into that.
Why? Why did she think that anyway? I don't get it. Why would she know that? Like...
He's staring tenderly at one of his agents that's wounded.
How dare you care about your agent?
I don't think he was being all that subtle about the fact that he's still in love with Peggy. It was kind of obvious. But
it was obvious from, a narrative it was obvious because it's an obvious story that they are obviously doing.
Yeah. I
don't know why she thinks that, though. Why? No, maybe Sousa should rethink this in this case. I think she might get a bit too jealous too easily, if that's true. Yeah.
I think that they need to stop pushing Peggy Sousa, because I personally don't think it works very well. I think it's an unnecessary degree of conflict with the whole... I like Violet a lot, but I'm one of the reasons I'm so glad they brought her in is, helping Peggy out in, kind of a Claire and Daredevil kind of way, is that otherwise, narratively, all she's there for is to complicate things between Peggy and Sousa. I want her nursing skills to be quite vital to the plot, because otherwise all she is to make things unnecessarily complicated, and jealous, dramatic tension between Peggy and Sousa, and I hate that kind of shit. So much.
But I don't know, I mean, come on. Love triangles done for drama has worked a grand total of 0 times in history, but I think they can finally do it this time. The episode's good other than that.
Yeah.
I actually disagree with your point, because your point is that these two specific people shouldn't be romance. I think they are putting a romance story in this story. There's the problem. Stop. Please stop. Actually, stop.
Stop and bring back Angie.
Yes, stop, bring back Angie. Just
that
do
will
it.
Make everything okay again.
Yes.
I also, honestly, the most compelling scene in the whole episode for me was just the very beginning of the fight between Peggy and Whitney. Because Peggy's still trying to, she's giving Whitney a chance. She's seen, what the material's done to Dr. Wilkes. She knows it could be warping Whitney somehow. She's gonna she's giving Whitney a shot. And Whitney is just getting so power drunk. Like, the absolute unrestrained, excitement on her face when Peggy punches her and she's like, I thought that would hurt more. The woman is having the time of her life. She's not getting off this ride anytime soon. And I completely forgot Cal was there in that scene until he dragged Whitney away at the end. Because all the dramatic tension was between Peggy and Whitney, and it was just really, they're gonna fight.
Well, this is actually classic superhero stuff. First fight, the supervillain just destroys the hero.
Yep. Because now the hero gotta know what she's up against.
I think that's just about it for the episode, I think.
Yeah, I'm just kind of skimming this. Like, Violet, don't die. It's so flippin' American that Violet has a baseball bat by her door in case her house gets broken into.
Yes.
So American.
Well, obviously, she needs to throw diners at the villains. That would redeem everything. Have her hit baseballs at bad guys. That would be great. That would make me happy.
Just like, yeah, she thought someone's broken into her house. Turns out her boyfriend is taking a slightly stalkerish tactic to making her a romantic dinner. But, oh well. The proposal stuff was actually kind of cute. But I'm so scared Violet's gonna die, and I don't want her to die.
But she's gonna die.
I don't want her to die. Oh yeah, I've got some words. People thought Galileo was insane. Honey, Galileo wasn't trying to steal nuclear bombs. Whitney trying to make her point about why she is the future, and it's like, woman, okay, yes, you have really cool powers. Awesome. You finally have some power in your relationship in your life. Awesome. You have killed people. You need to bring it back to that point. You have killed people, and now you want to set off a nuclear bomb. You might want to think. Also, the look on on her face when she tries to kiss her husband, and he pulls away and freaks out because he's not into the crack in her face. Her expression is just like, the date of her killing him has just moved forwards, I feel like. Especially at the end of the episode when she makes it absolutely clear that she's not taking any orders from him anymore. And threatens to swoop. I've got this out in my notes as swooping people. Because she...
That's exactly what she does.
Also, I don't think I mentioned, but I love Peggy's disguise in this episode. I always love Peggy getting in disguise as an accent. It's absolutely fantastic. But between her hairstyle and her makeup, for a second, a couple of shots, she really looked like Natasha. Like, I think it's specifically the shade and style of the hair and her makeup. She totally looked like Natasha infiltrating somewhere. It was great. I really want, to find out in future Marvel movies or something that, Natasha or Maria Hill or somebody has a massive fangirl crush on, Peggy Carter, the original Lady Shield agent. I need that.
You know what? Going back through the episode, I think I want the most random thing, and no one else is gonna care. I want Hugh Jones in every episode as a comic relief and a failure. Just a failure of a ladies' man every episode, and something wacky happens to him involving science.
Especially the first time Peggy's flirting with him, she's just smiling, and He's like, oh, we'll go over, so we'll crunch some numbers. She's using the shittiest pickup lines, and the second he's out the room, the split second, she's like, bye! What an arrogant plonker. I loved getting to see Rose fight, because again, I was hoping for that, because she's a trained SSR agent. I was hoping to get her to see her beat somebody up, and she gets to crack one-liners while she's doing it. It's great. The guy pulls out the knife, she's just like, I've seen bigger, and smashes his head off the wall. And the next time you see her, she's carrying the knife. She's just casually picked herself up a knuckle duster knife.
Yes, that's awesome.
Also got repeated notes from the bomb disarming scene when Jarvis is having to do it, and Susan's talking it through. It's just like, Jarvis, you're English. Be chill. Be calm. Be chill. Otherwise you get your English card revoked. But just the infuriated way afterwards. He's like, that was nothing like making souffle. Most of my notes are just incoherent excitement about Peggy and Rose and all the stuff going on. Especially the Peggy and Whitney fight.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm kinda waiting for her to go, actual full supervillain.
I feel like that's going to be like a final episode thing. She's still kind of cracking just now, but she's somehow going to get her hands on some more Zero Matter or something and just go full supervillain. This is my final form. In the last couple episodes, and then they gotta fight her.
Yes.
They gotta figure out a way to fight her without getting shooped. And, Wilkes has kind of just vanished from this plane of reality again, which is annoying. It's gonna make that so much more difficult.
Still betting that Dottie somehow helps Peggy fight her.
I just would be very cool with that.
It's
I want Peggy and Dottie to fight against each other again, but I also really want to see Peggy and Dottie fight together.
Think it's gonna happen. Like, that's something that would happen.
Again, I'd hesitate to call them frenemies, because they don't really like each other, aside from Dottie having some kind of huge murder crush on Peggy.
I don't think that really matters, even.
Yeah, but they do have a lot of respect. They do respect each other's abilities. Yes. So, frenemies like that teaming up to fight a greater evil is my weakness.
Yes, it's basically Dragon Ball. The main enemy from last season is now your friend. Repeat until the end of time.
See, I'm even weaker for it when it goes, on the Zuko arc. Where the enemy turns into, the awkward friend. I don't quite see Dottie managing that. I maybe see her going token evil teammate at best. Still a bit chaotic evil, but kinda working for Peggy, maybe? But I feel like they're gonna end up on opposite sides anyway. I'm also so tragically convinced that Wilkes is gonna die. I like him a lot, and I like his relationship with Peggy a bit more than I like Peggy's relationship with Sousa, but I still feel like he's going to die. He's going to properly vanish, or he's going to have to sacrifice himself to defeat Whitney, or something like that. I don't want him to die, and I don't want Violet to die, but I feel like at least one of them's going to die. I don't really want to notes about that, about just being excited about all the things that happened in this episode that I wanted to happen, and being annoyed at the jealousy shit happening.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen next year? I'm wondering how long they're gonna have Peggy out of it with, having been impaled and all. That does take a while to heal from, just a little bit.
I bet she'll be fighting by the end of the next episode, calling it.
I mean, she does sleep with a gun under her pillow, so as long as they can give her something to sit on to move around, she can probably shoot people down. It was quite a funny turn on that trope of, surprise, wake up, I've got a weapon, I could have killed you. In this case, her hand is actually sticking through his incorporeal head.
Well, no, you couldn't.
I like that version of that trope.
Yes.
And also, at some point in the season, I have to say, one of my favourite ridiculous tropes that I want to see from Peggy in particular, or either Peggy or Dottie at some point in the season, is that, okay, you have to leave all your weapons here, and they take out, an improbable number of weapons. All of them. Takes out an even more improbable number of weapons. Is that all of them? They take out a tiny knife or handgun or something that's still concealed somewhere. It's such a ridiculous trope, and I enjoy it so much, and I want to see either Peggy or Dottie do it at some point this season. I don't entirely expect that one, but I would love it.
And the inevitable scene where they bring out a deadly weapon from between the breasts.
No, I hate that one. That's such an uncomfortable place to keep weapons. Plus, the only time I've ever seen that one used is stupid anime physics.
Fair enough.
Anime boob physics I hate so much.
Why do you know that weapons between are uncomfortable?
I have cosplayed. I have tried things for cosplay that were and I have been in theater. I've tried things for cosplay and costume that turned out to be uncomfortable. Although at least I've never tried the Jack Harkness method of hiding weapons. You gotta be very brave to try the Jack Harkness method of hiding weapons. Though I do want to see Anna again making Peggy, pretty things to hide weapons in. I am sad that we haven't seen Anna again for a couple episodes because, I adore her. But I'm looking forward to her next appearance, which she might be around a bit more if Peggy's bedridden.
Actually, I just thought of a better idea. Is that have them try to check if there's a weapon between her breasts, and she's like, no, why would I do that?
You pervert, and kills them all.
Yes, that would be great.
But I am curious about what Whitney's next tack for getting a bomb is going to be, because she's dead set on getting a bomb, and Cal's trying to get his, sinister agency of vaguely sinister dudes together to do something.
Well, considering how that council are complete cartoon characters, maybe they can just call the Acme Corporation.
Oh, God. Bet you one of them owns the Acme Corporation.
Yes.
And they are making a fortune off of Wile E. Coyote's suffering.
Yes. Imagine one of them on the phone. Look, I don't care what that coyote is paying you. I need these bombs. Just have Whitney. Whitney's just so far gone that she just grabs them. He's like, meep, beep, and just runs off.
Like, I feel like this council's going to be trying to declare war on Whitney or something, and if the council tries to do anything to Whitney, she's going to kill them all. And no one will care.
She just kills them all. And it's like, that's all, folks. Dun, 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 dun. She killed everyone.
This is an unusually dark episode of Looney Tunes. Oh yeah, Acme Corporation. And I do wonder what they're going to do with all that uranium they've stolen. On the one hand, I'm like, do you trust Howard Stark with all that uranium? I'm like, do not trust Howard Stark with all that uranium. Well, maybe you can trust Howard Stark with all that uranium. Where the hell is he anyway? Is he still in a swimming pool full of supermodels?
This is like something reference to the Iron Man movie something. This is the prototype for this thing.
Yeah, they do kind of use him as a future reference mobile, don't they?
Yes.
So I don't have much more to say about the episode other than that I love it and almost everything it stands for, aside from please don't let this jealousy malarkey roll out of proportion. But yeah, well done, Agent Carter. Just keeps getting better.
It does.